just want she said, I want the conditions to be equal, so both of us can aspire to attain a good life. I don't care whose land it is. Now, she's not maybe representative of all Palestinians. Maybe you know more than I do. That's the reason I'm here. Because I saw something in her that said, I just want peace. You know, I don't care who kills who, just, yeah. I think all of us are in here for that reason. You know, Professor Moise is a military historian, but I read Alexander Downs' book, Targeting Civilians, and I may not have the whole title correct. But he did a statistical analysis of, in the modern wars, how many innocent civilians died. And it's like 60% of the casualties are innocent civilians. They have nothing to do with it. And I think his thesis was, in his book was, it takes a small minority to cause all the havoc, and the innocent people along the way just get harmed because of it. And then here comes these stereotypes of you're evil, I'm evil, that side's evil, and then everybody's life is a living terrible.
That's right. I just want to like just to sum this up. You gave all these examples of minorities, not being integrated into the larger group. In all these, like in most of these, the problem, the trend is a national majority that imposes its will on another minority of a different nation. While at the same time, you talk about people of peace, and you support the notion that this trend in nationalism causes, or there is at least a cause for discrimination for these minorities all throughout the world. Why still support?
Still support what?
Any type of like national democracy. Any type
I never said I supported national democracy.
Jewish homeland.
I support anyone to be able to be free, to have a place to go where they're safe. There's an interesting term out there, it's called utopia. It means no place. No place is perfect. Unfortunately, we live in an imperfect world. All we can do is try our best. And if we stop trying, we see what happens. Or we get into louder majorities or whatever. I have never supported the government of Israel and their actions. I have always supported the fact that the idea of a place where Jews can go is a great idea. The law of return, etc. However, the way it's been dealt with has been tragically horrendous. And it needs work, attention, and that's why we're here talking about it. Absolutely. Never have I supported the actions of the state of Israel.
Your utopia isn't so far away, though. I mean,
what?
Your utopia isn't so far away. You're Jewish, I'm Palestinian, I'm American, so are you. And we're both, part of the same nation, and we're both part of we're both equals. And that's why I used to support the two-state solution based on, the idea that it's more practical. But more and more I see that the one-state solution, dissolving national boundaries, dissolving differences, and maybe it's too far off, but a liberal democracy, the one that accepts different people like we have here, is as good as utopia can be.
I think that, to be fair to both of you, I think what Dr. Cohen's trying to say is that you need a place to call home. But the Jewish people, as I understand, have not had a place to call home. Now, that doesn't have to be.
But I'm not saying Palestinians have either.
Well,
I think
also, it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be purely and only a Jewish homeland. But so long as it feels like home, it feels safe. So it very well can be a sort of melting pot type place, like the United States.
You've been there and talked to the people on the street, the people in the homes, the people who have lost. What they're going to
say, and people your age, they just want it over. And that voice has to come out. There have been a small minority of Israelis in the army that have dropped their weapons and walked out. There has to be more on both sides. One of the things I've always said, historically, the mothers have to say, no more of my children die.
But you're talking about
on both
mutual
sides.
coexistence.
Absolutely.
And what I'm saying is that both of you are
Home
essentially
is home.
you're essentially wanting the same thing, but you're talking about it as if it were two separate.
I think the issue is the geographical location is such a difficulty, and has been, that one state, two state, the annexation, the mandate, it's always been an issue. We got to get beyond that somehow. I don't have the solution. I just know we got to work towards it rather than against it. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, from an American perspective, I heard Dr. Nate talking about the funding that we, how much we fund the Israel, the Israel government. I was just wondering if, are we going to continue to do that? I mean, has anything been talked about, dropping that funding or anything? But,
No.
does any of the funds reach the Palestinians?
Was it?
Does any of the funds reach the Palestinians?
Not those funds. There are funds, lesser funds, right, that reach the Palestinians. Those funds have been diminished since in Gaza, the Palestinians in Gaza voted in a government that's from Hamas, right, the fundamentals, and funding to cut then. The key, I think, is not the funding to the Palestinians, because the problem the Palestinians have is not that they aren't getting funds from it. They're getting some funds. I mean, the poverty rate is very high, about 80% of Gaza. The problem is the systematic dismantling of the economic structure in the West Bank and in the Gaza Strip, right? So it's not funding, Steve, right? It's the ability to build an economic infrastructure, which is precisely what Israel is not allowing. Right? So I don't worry terribly much about funding or not funding for the Palestinians. The funding for Israel, what it allows Israel to do, right, is continue to develop its weaponry and to utilize it against the Palestinians. And that's, it seems to me, where the real problem is. The complication in all this is that Israel is given, out of the 2.5 billion, I'm thinking it's 1.5 to 2. That's the military, right? Israel's required to spend 75% of that on U.S. weapons. Okay, so here's what you have, right? You have the U.S. defense manufacturers lobbying for increased military aid to Israel, so because they know they're going to get 75% of whatever goes to Israel. You combine that lobbying with the lobbying of the extraordinary powerful pro-Israeli lobby itself, right? And several other factors we can talk about. And you get the individual congresspeople have every reason to support the continued aid to Israel, and no reason not to, right? Because there's no countervailing pressure coming from the other side. So basically what we, when I say we being Americans who begin to understand the issue, would do would be the beginning of that countervailing pressure. Saying, look, the funding that you give to Israel is coming from support from very powerful interests. However, it's not helping us here in the U.S. I would argue that continued U.S. economic aid to Israel is in fact detrimental to U.S. interests because of the anger that it causes, because of the opportunity costs that are foregone here in the States, right, when we're funding that aid to Israel. So the issue, I think, is not how much aid to Israel versus how much aid to Palestinians. Right? I don't think aid to Palestinians, I don't think is going to be terribly helpful or make a difference. That's not their issue. Right? The issue is what the aid to Israel is doing, right? And I think what it's doing is it's harming the Palestinians and it's harming U.S. interests, and it's being kept in play by powerful interests that allow Congress to be